Okay, today is August 15th, 2023, and it marks the 52nd anniversary that the dollar has come off the gold standard. So I'm going to start off with this video here of President Nixon back in August 15th, 1971, actually announcing the U.S. not being pegged to the dollar anymore, and it's the current system that we're still operating off of and probably will never go back to, especially after 52 years. But this announcement basically has allowed us to keep the money printer rolling for 52 years, especially the past 3 years. The past 3 years printing more than 40% of all U.S. currency in circulation at the time.
The third indispensable element in building the new prosperity is closely related to creating new jobs and halting inflation. We must protect the position of the American dollar as a pillar of monetary stability around the world. In the past 7 years, there's been an average of one international monetary crisis every year. Now, who gains from these crises? Not the working man, not the investor, not the real producers of wealth. The gainers are the international money speculators. Because they thrive on crises, they help create them. Recent weeks, the speculators have been waging an all-out war on the American dollar. The strength of a nation's currency is based on the strength of that nation's economy. And the American economy is by far the strongest in the world. Accordingly, I have directed the Secretary of the Treasury to take the action necessary to defend the dollar against the speculators. I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets, except in amounts and conditions determined to be in the interest of monetary stability and in the best interest of the United States. Now, what is this action, which is very technical? What does it mean for you? Let me lay to rest the bugaboo of what is called...
Okay, well, basically, that's the most iconic part of the speech, is what I just played you there. So, now I'm going to go to video setting. Now, this is just my setup for the topic of this video here. So these are actual real $20 bills, fresh out the ATM machine. But they would help with this video, so that's why I bought them out. This here is actual real 1 ounce gold coin. This is the Australian 2022 Perth Mint Kangaroo. 4 ounce fine gold. And this is actually my first and currently only 1 ounce gold coin. And I got it last year after selling some stock to get it, because I've always wanted one. And it feels good just to hold it in your hand. Now, back in 1971, an ounce of gold was $35, 35 USD. Now in 2023, as of today, August 15th, it's hovering around a little over $1,900 an ounce. So I'm hoping to have another ounce very soon. I'm pretty close. They're not cheap, but it definitely feels good to have in your hand when you speak about intrinsic value and what real money is. So essentially, from that speech, before he spoke announcing that every dollar was tied to gold. So what we have now with all this money printing, you couldn't have done that before being on the gold standard, because you could only print in dollars what you had in gold value. So essentially, coming off that gold standard, it allowed the printing of money because you didn't have anything to restrict you to. It's kind of like, if you think about it like a credit card versus like a debit card. With a debit card, you could only spend what you have on the card. Not really going to bring overdraft into it, but let's treat it like a prepaid debit card or something of that sort. You're going to spend what's on the card. Whatever you don't have in a card, it's not going to let you get. But let's say with this speech here and coming off the gold standard or coming off of a debit card, now let's move to a credit card. Now in the credit card, yeah, you do have a limit, and it may not be a good comparison, but it's what I came up with off the top. But with the credit card, you do have a limit, but you have a greater limit that you can borrow and spend, and that's essentially what we've done since then is up the limit. And I was like, we don't have more income, speaking of like the debit card, but with this credit card, we don't need to have just our earned income. You can just spend what you don't have, and that's pretty much what we have here. So now I'm going to switch over and go to some articles here. Okay, we did that one. So this here is the United States debt clock. This is the top number right here. We're almost at $33 trillion in debt. You see right here in the middle, the U.S. federal debt to GDP ratio. So you see between 1960 and 1980, 1960, 52.54%, slightly higher than it was 20 years later in 1980, 34.64%. Now, see here is it's in increments, so you don't have like the 1971 year, but you can see that that we're in much better shape than we are now. Look where we're at right now. 119.13% debt to GDP. That means that we are bringing in less money than what we're spending every single year. And we have a $25 trillion economy in the United States. And that ain't even enough, because look up here, this top number, $32 trillion. Now, this can be a whole separate video, which I did make a video about this in the past, about the U.S. debt clock, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But what I want to show you here, they got the gold to dollar ratio, or dollar to gold ratio. Over here on the side, on the right side. And, that's just insane too. Oh, let's go here. Gold holding by country. Now, United States is at the top, and we're more than double Germany. This is the world precious metals production. Well, this is as of 2020, but it says 66 million ounces of gold. So yeah, it's really something to think about. I think a lot of people are actually starting to realize it more now, but a lot of people still put a lot of faith in the dollar, and gold, silver are more secondary for the average general population. But there are investors and, of course, the bankers. The banks, yeah, they have a lot of fiat currency, but they definitely got some gold too. So, I think that's going to be it for this video. Like I said, 52 years. And you can see now that just with the inflation, the trillions and trillions of dollars just being printed. Like everything that you have here in your pocket, in your bank account, is becoming worth less and less and less every single day, because it requires more and more just to get the same thing. So you're losing value because the fiat currency isn't holding up. I want to do one more thing here. I want to go here to I have an inflation calculator on here, so I just want to kind of go back to, let me see what a $35 was back in, what's equivalent to in 2023. So 1971. Let's calculate that. So $35 back then in 1971 is essentially $261 in 2023. And that's back when we were on the gold standard, or that's what an ounce of gold was essentially in 1971. So $35 in 1971 had the buying power of $261 in 2023. Ain't that something? Look at that. And I show you here inflation by year. Look at that. By 1981, it had already more than doubled. It just keeps going up. So let's just do like, I know we kind of, I'm getting off topic a little bit, but let me just do one more thing. Let me just show you from the start of COVID. What, let's see, 29. Let's just start at 2019. Show how much $35 has changed in this short time frame. Calculate. Look at that. $35 in 2019 equals $41.35 in 2023. And that's all like stimulus money, COVID related, COVID era right there. That's crazy. You know, the people money is not going as far as it used to. And the money you earn from a job isn't going up to outpace it. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna end this video. I pretty much covered what I wanted to cover. So